Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm going to talk about what it means to have the aspect of Sun square Pluto in your composite chart. So the composite chart is a chart based on the relationship itself created by the midpoints of the two birth charts. So it's kind of like a natal chart for the relationship. Now, this aspect, this was requested, this is probably one of the most difficult aspects to have in your composite chart, but it is also very common. But it is probably one of my least favorite. I'm not surprised that it was requested because it can get kind of ugly. But I mean, it's not a death sentence. There are some personalities and some people who will do quite well with an aspect like this because it's definitely very intense. And with Sun Pluto aspects in general in the composite chart, it tends to show that a relationship is totally life changing. Now, with the Sun square to Pluto, the changes are sometimes unwelcomed or difficult for the two people. So because this is the composite chart, it's not so much that one person is having the Pluto and one person is having the Sun. It's more that both people experience massive transformation in their life in this couple, in this relationship. And there's not much they can do about it. It is unavoidable. You will transform. You will die to old versions of yourself. And depending on the rest of the composite chart and the synastry, if there is actual compatibility or not, you might even die to parts of yourself that you shouldn't. Meaning that this can be a toxic relationship. This can be a relationship that destroys your identity and sense of self in the world. And when you get out of it, you realize how much you were giving away, how much of yourself you lost in this connection. Now, it's not always going to be so extreme. If there's other compatibility and other great aspects to the Sun or a good Sun position in the house or houses or whatever, then this is more going to just show up that you challenge each other, you push each other. You might actually be very different people, going in very different directions in your life. And every once in a while, things are going to come to a head and you will probably fight. You will probably piss each other off. You will probably, as a couple, even have a strong presence on the outside world that you may even irritate or anger people from the outside. So there's something strong about this relationship. Like, as a couple, you have a powerful presence and you give off a powerful energy. But internally together, you might find that this relationship doesn't make you feel secure or more confident. It can be that it has a destructive energy or influence. Now, best case scenario with other good compatibility and good communication in other areas, this is just going to be a very intense, strong sexual attraction and magnetism towards each other. You come together for the reason of transformation. Now, often with Pluto connections in the composite chart or even in the synastry too, we experience a profound magnetism and attraction to another person. But the root of this is because there is something in this connection and with this person that is going to transform your life in a big way. So with the Sun square to Pluto, it's your identity, it's your ego, it's your sense of life and the world around you. It's the most important planet in the composite chart, arguably, the biggest, brightest light in the composite chart. So the purpose of this relationship and you being together is something deep. It's something profound. You have attracted this relationship because there is something in you that needs to die and be reborn. Now, because this is a square, it's probably not going to be the most comfortable way to release this part of yourself. It might come with some kind of cataclysm or earthquake, or that's kind of how I feel like this aspect is like an earthquake. It's not comfortable, it's shaking everything up, and then afterwards you can rebuild potentially better, right? So yeah, it's definitely one where it can show up in a long-term relationship if the people are particularly plutonic. They have a strong Pluto, they like this type of constant challenge and being different from someone and having lots of upheavals and earthquakes in the relationship. So there's a certain type of person that can like this, but a lot of people will find that this relationship is too difficult, or it's, like I said, worst case scenario, it destroys them and their identity and their sense of self. So it's interesting, like with the Sun trine to Pluto, or even in some cases the conjunction, we transform our sense of identity, our sense of self a lot, but not so much with the conjunction. The conjunction can also be like this, but with the trine, it's in a more smooth way where the changes are constructive and it's easy to make the changes that the connection requires. With the square, it's like you fight each other. You're at a constant standoff, and the changes that you are required to make this union workable are, you're not so ready to do that. So in a relationship, for it to work, there needs to be at times a leader and at times a follower, and that can switch, right? It's not always going to be one person. Like it's just as long as we can cooperate, right? With this aspect, both people are wanting to lead, and there can be a lack of that, like, submissive partner, and not that, the one has to be the woman or the man. It's just like relationships require give and take, and like, an energy exchange where one person, like, is the leader and then the follower. Like, relationships that work, the people gradually can go into those roles at times, right? Not all the time. But with this connection, it's like nobody wants to back down. And is what makes it difficult, is that when you are fighting or having to transform something, you don't want to, you resent it, you resist it, and you're just like, this person, like, it's so intense, it's so powerful. There's definitely, like, even an obsession with each other that you cannot let go, and even after it ends, you still obsess over them because it just has this, like, this high level of intensity that is life-changing. And so it's really hard to be in a relationship with this contact, but it's also very hard to let a relationship go with this contact. But if you have attracted it, there's something big happening here. Often you'll attract it when you are, like, ending completely one phase of your life and going into a new phase, and you'll have this relationship in between. Okay, now some people are not going to want to hear that. You want this relationship to be the one. Well, if you want that, good luck. No, some people can handle it. And if this is just one difficult aspect out of a beautiful composite chart and great synastry, this is just going to be a really intense relationship, which you might like, if you're Plutonic, or you're Scorpio, or, a sign that loves a challenge, even Aries, you will really maybe enjoy the jarring effect of this. But in a lot of cases, it's just a transitional experience, and a very intense, heated, passionate, quick transformation that leaves you hopefully better, but sometimes worse. And you got to rebuild yourself after that earthquake. So Another thing about this aspect is that there can be quite a telepathic bond. It's definitely a very deep relationship. It would be hard to have this contact in a platonic relationship because every once in a while you're just gonna kind of get at each other and be intense and feisty and even angry at times when you feel that that person is trying to steal your identity away or whatever they're doing. They're just in the way of these changes you need to make. So yeah, definitely very interesting aspect, very intense, very powerful, very psychic, telepathic. Can be obsessive, can be really hard to let go. In a relationship, it's definitely a relationship that doesn't stand still. It's more tension and transformation and intensity. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, you guys. I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Let me know in the comments. And thanks for your requests. This was requested. Let me know in the comments more requests that you'd like me to do. I'll add them to my list. Okay, love you guys. Sending all the love. If you have this aspect, I bet it's a wild ride. And hopefully you're getting a lot of good growth and healing out of it. Okay? Love you guys.